Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, ladies and gentlemen, wherever you're joining us from in the world. Happy Valentine's Day to everyone. Today is February 14th, and welcome to Open Up, our live talk show on this Sunday morning. My name is RJ Horner, and I'm the host of Open Up, and I'm the vice president at Voice of Men 360. I'm also the host and facilitator at my own community called Live and Love Life. So let me share a brief introduction about Voice of Men 360, International Men's Day, and why this talk show, Open Up, is so important to us. Voice of Men 360 is a not-for-profit organization founded in 2020 based in Toronto, Canada. Many boys and men are seeking help and support in many ways in their lives. We understand the demands and the support needed when it comes to our boys and men in our society. Voice of Men 360 organization was born out of us seeing a tremendous need and stepping up to help provide services to help support and overcome men's and boys' life challenges. We are part of International Men's Day. International Men's Day has been serving for over 21 years and is now recognized in over 90 countries around the world doing various activities. International Men's Day follows 6 pillars, which represents the overall well-being of boys and men. We follow in those footsteps. Why is Open Up so important? Because we men do not open our hearts, and we're not willing to share our matters with anyone. When we keep our emotional challenges within ourselves for a longer period of time, at some point, it's bound to explode, and it'll affect our health and our mental conditions in many ways. That's why we want to create an open space and allow an individual to share their life journey through our platform. We aim to create awareness about life challenges, struggles, and overcome the ups and downs that our men and boys go through in their lives. There are no limitations with age, gender, nationality, or ethnic groups sharing their life journey. Everybody is welcome to participate. Our goal is to make a positive impact on someone's life through this program. Open Up is live on Sunday mornings, 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And each week we'll bring an individual and share their life experiences with you. Today we have a special guest. He's a truck driver, a survivor of suicide, and part of Canada's Suicide Prevention Service. He belonged with the Canada Mental Health Association, CMHA, and he had been helping many employees with their labor rights. He's been speaking tirelessly about men's issues on many platforms, and he is the co-founder of Men Talk. Welcome, Stephen Douris, to Open Up. Thank you for joining us on Sunday morning and being willing to share your life journey with us.
For having me. Thank you for having me here this morning. It's a great pleasure.
Absolutely. Wonderful to join us. So we would like to take you right back. This is about your life journey as early as you can remember in childhood. If you could talk about that for a little bit, tell us what it was about. How was it for you?
Well, I grew up in inner city Montreal, in a very, single parent home. My dad had left us when I was about 3 years old. And so we were very, very poor. I was brought up poor, and I always wanted to be rich. We missed a lot of meals, but we had each other, put it that way. So my childhood was not great, but other people have had a lot worse than I did too. I was bullied in high school. I was bullied in elementary school, but not as much as the kids are being bullied today. And back then it was a different era too. So, and through the 50s and 60s, and coming into 60s, I quit school in grade 8 in order to have money in my pocket so I could actually have stuff that I wasn't having by not working, and to help support the family. And I've worked ever since. I worked from age 6, 8 days after my 16th birthday till I was 68 years old. So it's been a long haul. But life is fantastic.
So it sounds like you and I have had a similar journey. But let's go back to that bullying for a minute, if you could. How did you get through that? Tell me. I went through it too, and we have to survive it. We have to get through it, but it also forms who we are as a person. So how did you get past that?
I learned to fight back, and that was it. We had, and was one bully in our neighborhood. His name was Nino, and every day he would pick somebody he was going to beat up. And like I said before, I was a skinny kid, because undernourished a lot of times. And I come around a corner one day, and he looked at me. He says, "Your turn today." And I took off running, and he chased me. He hit me once, and once he hit me, I was crying, of course, but I was on my steps, and I took a lunge at him and swinging, and he just kind of looked. I missed, but he stopped and he looked at me. He says, "I can't hit you. You're crazy." And he walked away. And after that, very few people come after me for some reason. Maybe they thought this kid was too nuts to come after, but I just kind of sucked it up to it. At that time, boys had to be strong. Boys were not allowed to cry. The boys were not allowed to do this, that, next thing. Much the same as a lot of that still hasn't changed today. Mm-hmm. But I just learned, well, if I get beat up today, I get beat up today. And tomorrow's another day. So sit in the back of the class and mind your own business. And it's one of the reasons I didn't like school, because I got beat up too many times.
Sure. Yeah. School can help form who we are as a person, right? And if you're not enjoying it, you can't participate, you can't feel the enthusiasm of growing properly. So that's exactly what I was looking for. How do we get past that, right? So you got past childhood and you went into high school era. Let's talk about that. How did you fit in? How were things there?
High school was not much better. Like I said, I come from a poor part of town, and the high school was mixed with an area that was more affluent. And so like a bunch of us that were coming from our area, we'd go in, and I remember my sister, most of the stuff she had was secondhand or whatever. And we would go in the last month and a half of school. You were allowed to wear whatever you wanted. The rest of the time, you had to wear a shirt and tie, and the girls had to wear certain uniforms. But the last month and a half, and that's when you used to see the more affluent kids come in with their designer clothes. Basically, we didn't have designer back then, but more expensive clothing, and kind of made you feel inferior. And which, no kid in school should ever feel inferior. Mm-hmm. And so we just coped with it. And it was a great time because I never had to wear a tie at the end of the year. But at the same time, I think I had 2 ties that do me every day of school. So it was like life was different. But and bullying in high school wasn't as much bullying in high school as there was in elementary, because I think it was just a different lifestyle.
Sure. But in high school, but you also get social pressures. You know what I mean? You got to find a girlfriend, that sort of thing. You got to kind of fit in. Tell us about that, if you would.
My first girlfriend, actually, the first time I seen her, there was a song on the radio by Roy Orbison called Pretty Women. And she was walking, she come out of her house, and I spotted her, and she was walking, and that was a song that was on my little transistor radio at the time. And anyways, I kind of stalked her for about 2 weeks until I got the nerve up to talk to her. And we ended up going out with each other for about 3 years. And she was my pride. In school, I had her picture on my clipboard, all stuff like that. So I had something. And she was a great, great girlfriend. And actually, 2 years ago, I met up with her for the first time in over 50 years. I just called her up and asked her if she'd like to have a coffee, and was like, wow. It was nice. It was nice.
Nice. Very nice. Absolutely. So, and then again, we're talking about social pressures, and I mean, we have to have our boyhood friends. How was that for you at that era?
I got a friend, my best friend of all, who lives in Ottawa. He's been by my side since I was about 3, he was 6. And I have another friend who lives in Montreal who I known since we were 2 years old. And these friends have been my anchor. They've been my anchor all my life. The one I knew when he lived in Ottawa, for all intents and purposes, he is my male soulmate. If I was having a problem, I would talk to him. If he was having a problem, he would talk to me. So I always had that liaison with him. And my other friend, we always had a place where we could go and be with each other and talk to each other.
That's awesome. Yeah, we need those influences in our lives. So I wanted to make sure we could talk about that, and make sure that people need to know that they have to have male companionship in their lives in order to get through it.
I always said in your life, my mother's told me, she says, if you have more than 5 friends, if you can count more than all your friends on more than one hand, you're lying to yourself. Because nobody has that many good friends, the ones that are going to be beside you. And I have 5 good ones.
Wonderful, wonderful. Now, you've told us that you are a suicide survivor.
Yeah.
And this is open up. So are you open to talking about that today? And if so, please do.
It has become my life's passion about talking about it in order to maybe prevent somebody else from going down that path. So ask me away. Just the only thing I will not tell you is how. That's the only thing that's off the table.
Sure, but what led you maybe to those moments? What brought that on?
As I said earlier, I always wanted to have money, and that's why I quit school, so I could have stuff, I could buy stuff. But all through my life, I wanted to be rich. I wanted to be the man, if you wish. And entering my 40s, I had come up with a brainwave of starting a company. And so I started a mobile truck wash company and washing houses, homes, and stuff like that. And started it from scratch. I borrowed $2,000 from my grandfather to get it off the ground. And within 6 months, it was rolling like beyond my belief. I had contracts everywhere, doing all kinds of different jobs for different places. And then I was offered a chance to do courier work, and then which led into I started a courier transport company at the same time. And then one of the companies I was working for asked me to do their office cleaning, so I jumped on the opportunity again. So at this point, I ended up having 3 companies within about 2 years of starting that were going gangbusters. They were doing almost $1 million each a year. And but the problem was I didn't trust anyone. I was brought up that I couldn't trust anyone. And I would work between 18 and 20 hours every day, 7 days a week, either maintaining the vehicles, doing the job myself or whatever. And as I said in previous talks that I've done, your human body cannot sustain that for an extended period. I did it for about 5 years. I lived on 2 packs of cigarettes a day, 12 bottles of Pepsi, or 12 cans of Pepsi, approximately 12 coffee a day, and 1 meal. And one day, my world come crashing down. I lost interest. I lost everything. I declared bankruptcy. I went home one day. I had no electricity, no gas, no nothing. My son at that point had stopped talking to me because of the idiot that I had become, angry person. And I just thought there was nothing left to live for. So I started planning about 6 months in advance how I was going to end it all. And when the day came, I put my plan to action. And I won't say I chickened out, because I didn't. What happened to me was I was in the midst of dying and doing what I was doing. And a vision of my son came in front of me, in front of my face. I'm going to say it looked like he was about a foot away from me. And I could remember to this day saying to myself, I could do this to me, but I just could not do it to him. And I stopped what I was doing. I went in and went into my kitchen and sat at the kitchen table. It was about 11 o'clock at night. My girlfriend at the time, who is now my wife, was working. So I couldn't call her. There was no one to call. So I sat at my kitchen table till 10 o'clock the next morning, and I would not move. I would not go to the washroom or nothing for fear that I would go back to what I was doing.
Mm.
And I called her and told her what I had done. And she got me help. She got me the help that I needed, but I wanted the help too. So, which was
Mm.
the saving grace for me.
Wow. Thank you for that story. You know what? Thank you for being vulnerable, because that's what it takes to tell a story like that. And I mean, I know hearing people hearing that are going to take something from this, and maybe, just that bit about you not being able to do this to your son. You know what I mean? Yes, you can take it into your own heart, but you're leaving that behind after you leave. So that was very powerful. Thank you for that.
One of the things that I've realized over the years is, and I guess maybe that night is when I had the realization of it. We might attempt suicide. We might suicide. It's not what we're doing to us. It's what we're going to do to the other ones around us.
Right.
And that is what I preach now. It's not like, if you want to take your own life, fine, take your own life. But think about how you're hurting somebody else, that they're going to have to carry that for the rest of their lives. And it's quite a burden to carry.
Because no matter what, they're probably going to be thinking they did this to you, right? That's the message you're leaving behind, I think.
Yes, exactly. It's
wow. Deep, very deep, very deep. Thank you. So I mean, you're past suicide now. You've lived through it. Have you healed? Have you come through that and moved to another place?
I've moved to another place, but we actually, with my Mintalk group, and that there's a couple of times the subject came up, and I talked to my partner. And even though I've moved past it, it's still there. It's always something that's in my head that I attempted. And I would never go down that path again. But it's not something that ever leaves you. I'm healed. Yes. I still suffer from depression. I still suffer from anxiety, but I control it. And it's the big thing is right now, I control what I do in my life. And heal from a suicide, yeah, I'll never do that again. I'll never walk down that road. That's too dark of a road.
And so how do you manage the day-to-day? How do you get through each day, if you wouldn't mind?
Number one, I made a promise to my psychiatrist. And it's he told me to make a promise to myself, something that I would do for the rest of my life, and which I advise everybody to do. Make a promise to yourselves. And when I went to answer him, he says, no, you're going to wait, Stephen. It was my second of last visit to him. So, and he had me thinking for a couple of weeks. And when I went in, he says to me, okay, what are you going to do for the rest of your life? So his name was Larry Ullman. And I said, Larry, I'm going to make somebody laugh every day for the rest of my life. And he looked at me and I said, I promise that. And to be true to myself, I have to say every day I've made somebody laugh in one way or another, done something stupid, said something stupid, brought it on. And this gives me my everyday go-to. And also, I talk a lot about my past life. I'm like I said, I'm part of the Mintalk group. I speak on the behalf of the Canadian Mental Health Association. I do multiple volunteering work, and it just gives me something that I'm giving back, and it's my life is more complete than it's ever been.
Absolutely. And so you brought it up, and so you're the co-creator of Men's Talk. So let's learn more about that. What is Men's Talk? How does it help men? What do we do there?
It's Mintalk, Mentalk.
Sorry, yes, I apologize. Yeah.
That no problem. And it's in our area, because we're bilingual here, it's communique for men. And my partner, Yvan Lebel, and myself, I was part of the Suicide Prevention Coalitions, as was he. And one of the women at the table knew my story. And we're sitting and we're talking about how to get things moving for men in the area and everything else. And Yvan, sitting across from me, turns around. He says, "I am so tired of hearing about men who sleeping in their cars and their trucks and everything else." So I got a smirk on my face. I put my hand up. I said, "I did that." And the woman, Angèle Delesio, turns around. She says, "You two should talk because you both have the same idea." Because we both had talked to her about wanting to start a men's group. That was in November. Yvan and I sat down every 2 days and talked about how to get this group, how to get it growing, and what we wanted. We wanted a safe place for men to talk. No women are allowed in. And that's not being chauvinistic. It's because if you put one woman in a room with 20 men, those 20 men will not state what there's in their heart. They will not be free to talk. And so we made a space, and we started on January 29th was our first day of 2 years ago. And the first meeting, one person showed up. And I said, "Oh God," we just fell on our face. The second meeting, a different person showed up, but still only one. The third meeting, both of them showed up, and plus Yvan and I said, "We have 4. We made it." Since that, we've registered 54 different members. We meet pre-COVID and hopefully after COVID. We're going to be meeting twice weekly on Tuesdays and Wednesdays. And it's just a place that we could talk about whatever's on the table. We do not talk politics, we do not talk religion, and we do not talk abortion because these are divisive. So but you want to talk about your relationship with your wife, your girlfriend, boyfriend, whatever. And we do have them from all sexual orientations. So we don't defer. The only thing that we say, you have to identify as a man in order to get in our group. And it's going well. And we know we're making a change. We feel it, we see it. And we have 54 members, not all come back. Some it's just not every group is good for everybody. So, and we understand that. But the ones that we do have are great.
Mm-hmm. Is this a paid membership group, free opportunity? How do people get more involved?
Absolutely free. At this point, we have never charged anybody anything. And we are based in Cornwall. So it's you're not going to travel from Toronto to get here. But right now we're doing it online via Zoom on Wednesday nights only. But we don't have a website. We haven't gone that far yet. We do have a Facebook page, but one of our members that was handling it had left the group. So he's gone now about 6 months. So the Facebook page has never been touched. I don't know nothing about Facebook, and nor does Yvan. So that was left up to somebody else. Hopefully we have somebody else that's coming on board to do that right now. So maybe.
Wonderful. Well, I'll tell you, I would like to become more involved with Men Talk. You guys have a valuable program out there. And so I would love to see people reach out. So that Facebook group is inactive then? Is that what you're saying? Nobody has the power to control it at this point?
That's right. I'm an administrator apparently, but I don't even know how to put a post on there. So, but if anybody goes to Men Talk, and I think it's Men Talk Men Support Group, you will see there's all the information to get in touch with us. That is still there. And I do look to see if anybody is, going after us on it or trying to get a hold of us on there. And at some point, I'd like to set up something like you're doing here, where they could call us up and talk to us and stuff as such. But
so, I mean, without sharing names or anything, would you be willing to share any of the experiences that you've gone through with this group?
We've had people who are suicide survivors, like I am, and that is one of the things that if you get a half a dozen people at a table and you start talking, and we talk a lot about marital status and stuff like that, and if you got 6 people at a table And that, like at our table, one guy coming in not long ago, he's going through a dirty breakup. And he's talking about how bad, things are or whatnot. And all of a sudden, one of the other people say, well, that's nothing. Wait until this. And then you're going to see this, you're going to see that. And we let everybody know that, okay, you might be going through a divorce. You're not alone. We've all been there. I've gone through 2 divorces. So, what do you want to know? This is what you have to do to protect yourself. We have guys that one person was sitting there one night and he was very quiet. And we said, well, what's going on? Well, he is a suicide attempt survivor. And, he says, I'm ashamed of it. I said, well, why? I did that. And then you can see the attitude change, because when people realize that they're not alone, that there is somebody just like them sitting beside them, say, well, wait a minute. We have men in our group that, their daughters or sons or whatever are transgender. And to find out that there's 2 other people at the table whose daughters and sons are transgender, and you got another one whose son and another one whose daughter is lesbian and the son is gay, then all of a sudden you are not the only one in the room. So it's like, wow, I'm not different. I am the same as everybody else. There's nothing wrong with me. And this is the big thing. And this is what our group's about, showing people that we are all in the same boat.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for being here today, and then for bringing such a platform to us. We can see the symmetry between your platform, Men Talk, and our platform here, Voice of Men 360. We're doing a lot of the similar work. So I applaud you for that.
Well, thank you. It is what you guys are doing, and I do not post a lot or anything like that but I watch and I'm reading a lot of the stuff that you're doing. You guys are doing really, really good work, and I'm happy to be part of you.
Well, thank you for that. So as a last moment thing, you've talked a lot about survivors of cancer or survivors of suicide, sorry. So would you leave some parting advice so that people either may not experience suicide, or how do they get past it?
Well, one of the things that it's not only the person that's going through it, it's the people around them that have to start looking and seeing things. And I'm going to give a short example. When I was going through my depression and just before my suicide, I changed. Okay, I have a beard right now. This is my COVID beard, but usually I am clean, shaven and haircut, the whole works. And I've been like that all my life. But 2 weeks before my suicide attempt, I stopped bathing. I stopped shaving. I stopped changing my clothes. And nobody noticed. And so if you are sitting with somebody and you notice that this person is changing and they're not doing things that they usually do, they're not laughing, they've changed, they're different, reach out to them. Because if somebody would ask me the night that I attempted suicide, what's going on, I probably never would have attempted suicide. And if you are thinking about it, reach out to somebody. There's all kinds of helplines now. When I attempted in 1990, 91, and I say that because I don't remember the year, because I lost 2 years during that period with my depression. So I don't know what year was which year. But there is so much now that you could reach out. There's a Canadian Mental Health Association you could go. There's the mental health wards. There's the emergencies. There's the helplines. If you are feeling that you are going to possibly hurt yourself or take your own life, reach out, because I look at it now. It's 30 years approximately that I attempted. I would have lost 30 of the greatest years of my life. I've been with the same woman now for 30 years, and I would have missed all that. And it's like, I would have missed my son growing up. He's 41 years old now. He's a man. He's doing his thing. I would have missed that. and I would have missed what I'm doing by helping people. And this is it. Take care of you. But remember, there's more to life than depression. There's life after depression. There's life, and it does get better. It does get better.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you, Stephen. You've been a tremendous guest. You've imparted so much wisdom today. This is some words that people need to hear. And I'm going to do what we can within our group to help promote your group, because again, men need to start talking about their issues. It's not easy to talk about. Not everyone is willing to share their stories, their struggles, and their experiences, especially when it comes to surviving suicide. So I appreciate your courage, willingness, and to help other men by sharing your life struggles. Thank you, Stephen, for joining us today and sharing your life journey with us.
And I thank you for having me, and keep up the great work.
Absolutely. Thank you. So that's the perfect example of open up. Thank you for joining and sharing your life journey with us. When people like yourself come forward and share your life experiences on platforms like ours and on social media, it will give someone hope. It will give some hope to people out there to change their mindset and change their life in a positive direction. That's our goal here at Voice of Men 360. We want to bring individuals and allow them to share their life journey, having an open conversation about men's problems and challenges and how we can help them resolve those problems. So a few announcements just before we go. We have 4 live shows weekly. We have Open Up, this show that you're watching today, which joins us 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on Sunday mornings. We have a weekly webinar that takes place Saturday mornings at 10:30 a.m. to 11:30 a.m. And these are all in Eastern Standard Time, by the way. And then we have a Tamil live talk show called Vili, which means I, and that is twice weekly on Wednesdays at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time and Sundays at 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time for people living outside Canada. A panel discussion we have once a month, and that's in both English and Tamil. And then we turn these episodes into podcasts, so please participate at your convenience. And then we've recently started our monthly men's group. That is the 3rd Sunday of every month from 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. We still have our one coming up next week, so please join us for that. And we want you to share your life experience here in Voice of Men 360. There are no limitations with gender, age, nationality, or ethnic groups to participate. You are all welcome. If you want to be a guest on any of our shows or willing to be a part of our organization and help us directly or indirectly, please reach out to us. We'd love to work with individuals, professionals, experts, community organizations, associations, corporations, government officials, and businesses to help both agendas, ours and yours, grow stronger. Our phone number is 437-889-8329. 437-889-8329. You can email us at info@voiceofmen360.org and then visit our website, www.voiceofmen360.org. You may be watching this on Facebook Live as well. So our Facebook group is facebook.com/Voice of Men 360. That is who we are. That is where you'll find us on most social media platforms. We are Voice of Men 360. Please visit our YouTube channel and our Facebook groups and like and subscribe to follow us. We want you to reach out to more people and help more. Please continue your support. Thank you for joining us. Until next time, I'm RJ Horner. Better days ahead.